11:47 p.m. A stretcher crashed through the doors, a Navy SEAL Admiral lying motionless, his uniform torn with 5 bullet holes, blood pouring through the fabric as surgeons yelled over each other. "Pressure dropping! We're losing him!" They tried everything. Nothing worked. Then the quiet rookie nurse stepped forward. Emma Clark, the girl no one trusted, the one everyone overlooked. She leaned over the Admiral, placed 2 fingers on his neck, and whispered, "Not yet." Her hands moved faster than the surgeons. A maneuver none of them recognized, one she learned in Afghanistan. The monitors spiked. His vitals stabilized. The room froze. The surgeons stared at her like she'd done the impossible. 10 minutes later, they fired her for breaking protocol. Emma walked out of the hospital in silence, and that's when 10 black government SUVs screeched to a stop in front of her. Agents stepped out, not for the Admiral, for her, because she wasn't just a rookie nurse. She was the last surviving combat medic of a classified SEAL unit wiped out in Afghanistan, and tonight they wanted answers. Before we begin, take 2 seconds to comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe. Your support truly keeps these stories alive. 11:47 p.m., St. Helena Emergency Center. The doors didn't open, they exploded. A stretcher flew through the hallway so fast that a crash cart nearly toppled. Nurses stumbled aside, orderlies froze. Even veteran trauma surgeons who thought they'd seen everything stiffened when they saw the uniform. A Navy SEAL Admiral, motionless, uniform shredded by 5 bullet holes, blood soaking through the tan fabric and dripping off the stretcher rails, leaving a trail behind them like a red thread leading back to whatever battlefield he'd been dragged from. 5 GSWs, unstable vitals, BP crashing, move, the paramedic shouted. The Admiral's dog tags clattered violently against his chest with every push, echoing down the corridor like a warning bell. Inside Trauma Room 6, chaos erupted instantly. A dozen voices clashed. Hands moved too fast to track. Machines beeped in frantic disarray. No one agreed on anything. "Clamp that! He's losing too much blood. We don't have a pulse. He's coded twice already." Surgeons crowded around the Admiral, ripping open his uniform, exposing the deep wounds that carved across his torso. Blood soaked the sheets beneath him, staining his skin a dark, terrifying red. His face was pale, the color of someone who wasn't supposed to come back. Through the chaos, someone slipped into the room quietly. Emma Clark, a rookie nurse, barely 7 months into the job, assigned mostly to routine med passes and vital checks because no one trusted her with anything bigger. She moved like a shadow. Calm, silent, unnoticed, always overlooked. But not tonight. She stepped closer to the chaos like gravity was pulling her in, even as senior staff ignored her existence completely. One surgeon barked, "We're losing him. Someone get that rookie out of here." Another snapped, "She shouldn't even be in the room." Emma didn't respond. She simply stared at the Admiral. Something inside her shifted. Something old. Something buried. The way his chest rose in uneven gasps, the way the blood pooled in specific patterns, the way his pulse flickered between weak and absent, the way his breathing choked as if something internal was collapsing. It wasn't random, it was familiar. The room continued spiraling. "Pressure's dropping!" "Where's respiratory?" "He's slipping again. Someone do something." Emma stepped forward before her brain could stop her. Her hand moved to the Admiral's neck, 2 fingers to the exact point she needed, pressing in a way that looked strange to all the surgeons watching. "Get her away from him," one doctor snapped, but Emma didn't move. Her eyes narrowed, her breathing steadied. She whispered under her breath, not to the room, but to him. "Stay with me, Admiral." Her hands moved with practiced precision, the kind of precision that doesn't come from nursing school but from war. She tilted his airway just slightly, applied pressure in a pattern no civilian medic would know, then adjusted the angle of his oxygen mask. The monitors spiked. Beep, beep, beep. A steady rhythm. The room froze. "What the? His pressure is rising? Is that even possible? What did she just do?" Emma stepped back, chest rising and falling, her calm exterior betraying none of the shock pounding inside her ribcage. She didn't want to think about where she'd learned that maneuver. She didn't want to remember. But her body remembered for her. a dusty tent in Kandahar, a SEAL teammate bleeding out, her commanding officer shouting, "Clark, you're the only one who can do this." A heartbeat that returned because of her hands, and then the explosion that wiped out her entire unit. Emma blinked hard, pulling herself back into the fluorescent light of the trauma room. The Admiral's vitals continued stabilizing on the screen, a miracle by every civilian standard. The head surgeon turned on her, face red with humiliation. "You had no authorization to touch him." Emma opened her mouth, but nothing came out. She didn't know how to explain what she did or how she knew how to do it. "Get out," he shouted. "You just violated federal protocol." A senior nurse grabbed Emma's arm and pulled her back. "You shouldn't have touched him," she whispered harshly. "He's not a normal patient. You don't understand." Emma looked at the Admiral's still face, remembering how he had once looked at her across a battlefield. His voice echoed in her memory. "Clark, if I don't make it, tell them we didn't go down easy." She swallowed hard and stepped out of the room. 10 minutes later, she was standing in the director's office, badge in one hand, termination papers in front of her. "You endangered a federal asset," the director said coldly. "You are dismissed immediately. Security will escort you out." Emma didn't defend herself. She just nodded, placed her badge on the desk, and walked out with empty hands and a full chest of silence. Outside the hospital, the night hit her like a cold slap. Her breath fogged the air. Her scrubs were still stained with the Admiral's blood. She started walking toward the parking lot, and the ground vibrated beneath her feet. Engines, heavy ones. She turned. 10 black government SUVs swung into the hospital driveway, headlights blazing through the darkness. All 10 vehicles stopped at the exact same moment, perfectly aligned. Doors opened in unison. Men in black suits stepped out with the synchronized precision of trained operators. 2 nurses inside the building gasped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God, did the Admiral die?" But Emma knew instantly. They weren't here for a body. They were here for a secret she'd spent years burying. A man with a cold jawline and a badge that wasn't marked with any known agency stepped toward her. "And Emma Clark?" he said, voice low but firm. Emma didn't respond. He stepped closer. "We've been looking for you." Her pulse hammered. Her breath caught. Her mind screamed to run, but her body stayed still. The man's eyes narrowed. "You saved the Admiral once before," he said quietly. "In Afghanistan." Emma's heart stopped. He continued, "And tonight, you saved him again." The hospital doors behind them opened slightly as staff watched the scene unfolding, clueless, frightened, desperate to know what was happening. Emma felt the past claw its way back into her lungs. The man looked her dead in the eyes. "And now, we need you." Her knees nearly buckled. But the real blow came next. "Emma," he said, stepping closer, lowering his voice to a whisper only she could hear. "Your entire SEAL unit wasn't killed by the enemy. Someone betrayed you." The world tilted. Her fingertips trembled. Her breath shattered in her chest. And then he said the words that ripped open the wound she'd spent years trying to bury. "The traitor works in your hospital." Emma's heart stopped cold, and the night swallowed everything around her. Emma didn't realize she was shaking until one of the agents stepped forward and placed a steadying hand near, but not on her elbow, as if approaching a wounded animal. The hospital's cold parking lot suddenly felt suffocating, thick with secrets she never meant to revisit. The neon emergency sign flickered above them, casting flashes of red across the black SUVs like warning lights. "Let's take this inside the vehicle," the lead agent said. "Not here. Too many eyes." Emma looked back toward the glass hospital doors, faces pressed against them, nurses whispering, doctors staring, the director practically glued to the window in horrified curiosity. She swallowed hard and turned away. The last thing she wanted was to give them another spectacle. The agent motioned to an SUV door. Emma hesitated, then stepped in. Inside was warmth, silence, and the faint smell of leather. The door shut with a heavy thud, cutting off the outside world. The interior lights dimmed automatically. 2 agents flanked her. The lead agent sat across from her with a tablet already open, files pulled up that made her stomach twist. A photo of her, but not as Emma Clark the nurse, as Petty Officer Emma Clark, SEAL combat medic, black uniform. night vision goggles lifted onto her helmet, gun slung across her chest, and a smile she didn't remember being capable of anymore. "We never believed you died," the agent said, "but we didn't expect you'd resurface as a nurse." Emma looked away. "I didn't resurface. I hid." The agent nodded once, acknowledging it without judging it. The ambush in Afghanistan. The report never added up. Your unit was too experienced, too tactical, too trained to walk into a kill zone like that. Emma's throat tightened. She saw the images again. Fire in the sky, metal twisting, bodies falling. Her heart pounded in her ears. "You were the only survivor," he continued, "but you were badly injured. When you woke up at Landstuhl Hospital, you disappeared before debrief." "I didn't disappear," she whispered, voice cracking. "I escaped." The agent exchanged a glance with another operative. "Why?" Emma exhaled, long and slow. "Because I heard two analysts talking outside my room. They said the ambush wasn't random. They said someone sold us out, someone high enough that it would never go on record." She lifted her eyes, tears burning but refusing to fall. "And I knew if the traitor realized I survived, they'd finish the job." Silence filled the SUV, heavy, electric, respectful. The agent leaned forward slightly. "Emma, that traitor tried to kill the Admiral tonight." Emma's entire body went cold. "We intercepted communications from inside your hospital," he continued. "Encrypted messages coordinating the attack. The shooter wasn't acting alone. Someone in your ER secretly altered his meds when he arrived." Emma's pulse hammered in her neck. No, that's... But the image of the head surgeon screaming at her, the director firing her instantly, the way everyone rushed to remove her from the Admiral's side, it wasn't incompetence. It was deliberate. Her hand clenched against her thigh. "Who?" The agent tapped the tablet screen. A blurry surveillance photo popped up. A man in scrubs. Mask on. Cap pulled low. But the eyes... Emma recognized those eyes. No. It couldn't be. Her voice cracked. "That's Dr. Holloway." The agent nodded. "Chief trauma surgeon." "He was in Afghanistan," Emma whispered, memories slamming together. "He was consulting on our forward operating base 2 days before the ambush. He said he was studying battlefield triage." Her breath stilled. "He was mapping our patterns," she whispered. "He knew exactly where our unit would be the night we were hit." "And tonight," the agent added, "he signed the termination order to get you away from the Admiral's bedside." Emma's stomach twisted in betrayal so deep it felt physical. The agent leaned closer. "He didn't fire you because you broke protocol. He fired you because you were the only one who could save the Admiral, because he knew you recognized things no one else could." Emma squeezed her eyes shut. She'd spent years running from her past, and it had been following her this entire time. "We need your help," the agent said softly. Emma opened her eyes. "I'm not a soldier anymore." "You don't need to be. We just need your memory, your instincts, your eyes on the scene. You're the only one alive who knows how the first attack happened, and why this one looks identical." Emma didn't speak. The SUV began moving, pulling away from the ER. Agents in the front communicated quietly through radios, their voices low and urgent. The lead SUV took point. The rest formed a protective box around her vehicle. Emma stared through the tinted glass as the hospital shrank behind them. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "To a secure location," the agent replied. "Someplace where you can talk freely, and where no one can reach you." Emma looked back at the hospital once more. She saw Dr. Holloway standing in the glass entrance, phone raised to his ear, face shadowed in anger rather than worry. Her chest tightened. For years, she'd been the quiet nurse no one noticed. Tonight, she realized why that had kept her alive. The SUV convoy sped through the empty streets until they turned into an abandoned industrial lot. A warehouse loomed in the darkness, lights flickering to life as the SUVs approached. The gates slid open automatically. Inside, the warehouse had been transformed into a mobile command center. Screens lit up with satellite imagery, medical schematics, encrypted messages scrolling in real time. Emma stepped out of the SUV slowly, breath shaking. Every agent in the building turned toward her. Some nodded in respect. Some stood straighter at her presence. Some watched her with the kind of awe normally reserved for war heroes. She wasn't used to it. She didn't want it. But she felt the weight of it all the same. The lead agent guided her to a table. On it were the Admiral's medical chart, the bullets pulled from his uniform, its encrypted flash drive, surveillance footage from the ER earlier tonight, and then Emma saw the last item. A photo, not of her. Not of the Admiral, but of her entire SEAL unit, smiling, alive, taken the day before they died. Her knees weakened. Her fingertips hovered above the image but didn't touch it. The agent spoke quietly. "We believe Dr. Holloway coordinated the ambush in Afghanistan, and tonight's attack was meant to finish the Admiral before he could identify him." Emma's throat tightened painfully. "He was my friend." "No," the agent corrected softly. "That's the mask he wore." Emma stared at the board. The connections, the timeline, the locations, everything matched too perfectly. "He'll come after me," she whispered. "He already tried," the agent replied. "Firing you was step 1. Getting access to you once the Admiral died, that was step 2. Emma swallowed. "What do you want me to do?" "Tell us everything," the agent said. "Walk us through the Afghanistan mission, every detail, every instinct, every moment that didn't feel right." Emma looked at the faces of her fallen teammates. Then she exhaled slowly and nodded. "All right," she whispered. "I'll help." But before the lead agent could speak, an emergency alert blared across the warehouse. Code red, "The Admiral is crashing again." Emma's heart lurched, but the agent's next words were worse. "And Dr. Holloway disappeared from the hospital 5 minutes ago." The warehouse fell into chaos. Emma froze because she realized something horrifying. Holloway wasn't running, he was hunting. And she was the target. If you think we should never judge the quiet ones, comment never judge. For a moment, the warehouse felt suspended in a breathless silence. Every agent froze. Screens flickered red with the alert. Emma stood still, pulse hammering in her ears as the words repeated in her mind. "The Admiral is crashing again. Dr. Holloway is missing." The lead agent snapped into motion first, barking orders into his comms. "Lock down the hospital. Secure all exits. No one gets in or out without clearance." Operators sprinted across the room, switching feeds, tracing thermal signatures, rerouting satellite images. Emma's heart twisted. If Holloway wanted the Admiral dead, this was the moment he'd strike. Vulnerable, weak, surrounded by staff trained to trust him. He could slip into the room with a mask and gloves, inject something clear and untraceable, and walk out like nothing happened. That's exactly how he did it in Afghanistan. She stepped forward, breath sharp. "We need to get back to the hospital. Now." The agent turned. "Emma, you're not cleared to—" "No one knows his patterns like I do," she cut in, voice shaking but steady. "You think this is random? He kills the same way. Same dosage, same approach. He's repeating the exact method from our FOB attack." She snatched up the Admiral's chart from the table. "If he wants him dead, he'll do it himself. Tonight, before Federal Command arrives." The agent hesitated for only half a second. "Gear up," he ordered his team. "We move." The convoy roared out of the warehouse like a pack of wolves. Engines low, tires silent, lights off. Emma sat in the middle vehicle, flanked by 2 operators who checked their weapons with clinical precision. Her fingers dug into her scrub pants, knuckles white. Her mind replayed the faces of her fallen squad. Garrett, Silva, Holt, Commander Reyes. All dead because someone they trusted helped put them in a kill zone. And now Holloway wanted to erase the last 2 people who could expose him, the Admiral and her. "You okay?" one of the agents asked quietly. Emma stared out the tinted window at the rushing streetlights. "I knew something felt wrong when he fired me. I just didn't want to believe it." "He fooled a lot of people," the agent replied. "But you survived him once. That's why you're here." Emma swallowed hard. She didn't feel brave. She didn't feel ready. She felt like the girl who watched her world burn and ran before the flames touched her. But she didn't run tonight. 5 minutes out, the driver called. The agents nodded to each other. Vests adjusted, earpieces clicked, weapons checked. The SUV interior buzzed with controlled energy. Emma inhaled slowly. He won't go through the front entrance? No, the agent agreed. He'll use a staff access route. Emma closed her eyes. The service hallway behind Trauma 7. There's a blind spot in the cameras. He'd know that. The agent smirked. Good, you're thinking like him. Emma hated that she could. When they reached the hospital, the entire building was lit up. Police cruisers blocked the main entrance. Nurses huddled outside, whispering frantically. Doctors scrolled through their phones, pale and shaky. Someone cried near the curb. Emma didn't stop. She pushed through them as the agents formed a tight cover around her. Inside, the ER buzzed with panic. We lost his pulse again. Where's Dr. Holloway? He's supposed to... Someone check the medication logs. We need ICU backup. Emma sprinted toward Trauma 6, but the agent grabbed her wrist. Emma, slow down. She yanked free. We don't have time. The room was chaos again, but this time it was different. Frantic, disorganized, desperate. Nurses moved like scattered birds. A junior resident tried and failed to intubate. Someone knocked over a tray. The Admiral's monitors flashed angry red. The surgeon in charge spun toward the agents. Who are you? You can't just... Emma shoved past him. She looked at the Admiral, pale, sweating, trembling, but breathing. Barely. And then she noticed it. His IV line. The fluid bag hanging above him wasn't one the ER used. Wrong brand. Wrong color tint. Wrong tubing clasp. Holloway's been here? Emma whispered. The agents raised their weapons instantly, sweeping the corners. Emma grabbed the IV line and followed it down to the port. A faint chemical smell hit her nose, one she knew too well. The same toxin used in the Afghan ambush, the same one that collapsed her entire squad in minutes. Her throat tightened. He dosed him, but not fully. He's trying to sabotage slowly so the death looks natural. She tore the line free, slamming her hand on the emergency stop switch. A nurse screamed. Another gasped. You can't do that, a doctor shouted. Emma ignored him. Get me fresh saline 3 units, now. No, she's fired, someone yelled. She's not supposed to touch him. An agent stepped forward. She's federal authorized, move. Nurses scrambled. Emma stabilized the airway with rapid, practiced hands. Her body moved before her mind caught up, instinct replacing thought. Clamp, flush, pressure, reposition, breath, monitor. His vitals rose by a hair, enough to keep him alive, but she felt it. A presence. Eyes. Someone was watching. She lifted her head slowly. There, through the window of the trauma room, a figure stood partly hidden behind a corner wall. Masked, cap low, hand still. Dr. Holloway. Watching her work. Watching her undo what he spent hours planning. Her blood ran cold. He didn't flee. He wanted her to see him. He tipped his head slightly, mocking her, daring her to come stop him. Emma's chest tightened with rage. He's here! The agents turned immediately toward the window. Weapons raised, but Holloway vanished into the hall with chilling calm. The lead agent growled, Lock down the floor! Emma didn't wait. She ran. Through the trauma wing, past the nurse's station, down the dim service hall where the lights flickered weakly. Every step echoed. Her breath hit the air like steam. She turned the corner and froze. A body lay on the floor, a nurse, her name badge reading S. Morales. Pulse faint, injection mark on her neck. Emma's stomach lurched. The agents approached cautiously, checking her vitals, ordering backup. She's alive, one said. Barely. Emma's hands trembled. He's trying to erase witnesses. Then she saw something on the wall, a smeared handprint of blood, dragged, fresh, and next to it, a single word scrawled hurriedly with a finger. Run. Emma stared at it, breath trapped in her throat, but the agent behind her swallowed hard. That's not a threat, he said quietly. He's not telling you to run. Emma turned, confused. The agent met her eyes grimly. He's telling you he's coming. Emma's pulse jolted. A noise echoed at the far end of the hallway. A rolling cart tipping over, metal crashing to the floor. The agents raised their rifles instantly. Emma felt her heart slam against her ribs. Then, from the darkness at the end of the hall, A figure stepped forward, slow, deliberate, purposeful. Dr. Holloway, gloves on, mask up, eyes cold. He lifted a syringe filled with clear liquid and spoke the words that made Emma's blood freeze solid. "You were supposed to die with the rest of them, Emma." Dr. Holloway's voice echoed through the dim service hallway, cold enough to freeze the air around Emma. "You were supposed to die with the rest of them." Emma didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. The syringe in Holloway's gloved hand glinted under the flickering industrial light, clear fluid swirling like a ghost inside the barrel. The same toxin he used in Afghanistan, the same one he'd already slipped into the Admiral's line, the same one that almost killed her squad. Her throat tightened. Why them? Why him? Why us? Holloway stepped closer, slow and deliberate. Because your CO was about to expose a contract that would cost powerful men billions. He refused to play along, so he had to go. And your entire squad just happened to be in the way. Emma felt something old and dark uncoil inside her chest. You killed them. He shook his head in mock sadness. War killed them. I just redirected it. The agents spread out behind Emma, weapons raised. But Holloway lifted the syringe, placing the needle gently against his own throat, not to inject himself, but as leverage. "One step closer," he warned, "and this hits the bloodstream of the nearest person I touch, including her." His eyes locked on Emma's. She felt her heart stutter. His boots clicked against the floor as he approached. One slow step, then another. The needle glinting like a knife made of glass. Emma's mind raced. She couldn't let him slip away again. She couldn't let him kill another innocent person. She couldn't let the ghosts of her squad remain buried while their murderer breathed clean air, but she also couldn't lunge. Not yet. Not until he was close enough. 2 steps, 3. Holloway reached her, stopping just inches away, so close she could see the faint splatter of dried blood on his mask. "You," he whispered, "were the mistake." Emma exhaled, soft and slow, as the memories surged through her like fire. The explosion, the screams, the heat, her teammates burning, calling her name, the Admiral dragging her out of the wreckage with one arm, her begging him to leave her. His voice, "Clark, you're the only one who knows what he did. Stay alive." She had survived because the Admiral ordered her to. And now he was on a table fighting for his life again, because of the same traitor. Emma lifted her chin slowly. "Then let me correct your mistake." Before Holloway could react, Emma grabbed the wrist holding the syringe, twisted sharply, and jammed her palm against the nerve point in his elbow. The same move she used in Kandahar to disarm an enemy fighter twice her size. Holloway screamed, the syringe skidding across the floor. The agent surged forward. Holloway kicked Emma hard in the ribs, knocking her to the ground, and sprinted toward the exit. 2 agents tried to block him, but he dodged between them with shocking speed, shoving a crash cart into their path. Emma coughed, pain radiating through her side, but she pushed herself up instantly. There was no time, no space for weakness. Not now. She ran, down the dim hall, past overturned equipment, past a trail of footprints marked in blood. She chased him through the ICU wing, breath ragged, heart pounding like artillery fire. Nurses scattered, alarms beeped. Security shouted as the agents followed. Holloway burst into the stairwell. Emma didn't hesitate. She dove after him, grabbing the back of his coat. They both tumbled down the first step, slamming into the railing. Holloway elbowed her in the shoulder and bolted down the stairs, 2 at a time. Emma gritted her teeth and followed. 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th, each landing another echo of her past. The chase, the danger, the war she thought she'd left behind. At the bottom, Holloway burst into the basement, a place filled with pipes, shadows, and humming generators. He grabbed a metal pipe from the floor, swinging it in a wide arc. Emma dodged, the pipe slamming into the concrete pillar behind her with a deafening clang. "Just die!" he roared. Emma ducked another swing and swept his legs, knocking him to the ground. She climbed onto him, pinning his arm with her knee. "You killed my squad," she screamed, "and I'll kill you too," he spat, but he couldn't move. Not with her weight on his chest, not with her elbow crushing his tricep, not with agents closing in from every direction. Holloway thrashed one last time. Then Emma drove her forearm into his throat, stopping him cold. The syringe he'd dropped earlier lay at the edge of the room, glinting faintly. Emma reached out, slid it toward her, and held it up between them. "You used this to kill my brothers," she whispered. "To kill the Admiral. To kill me." Holloway stared at her, eyes wide, frantic. "You wouldn't." Emma tightened her grip. "No," she said, voice like ice. "But I will make sure you never hurt anyone again." The agent swarmed him, dragging him up, cuffing his wrists behind his back. As they hauled him away, Holloway's voice cracked. "You think the Admiral will live? He won't make it. I dosed him too much." Emma froze. The words ripped through her chest like shrapnel. "No," she whispered. "No. He can make it. He has to." "We need to get to him," an agent urged. "Now." They ran back through the hospital corridors, pushing past staff, officers, chaos, straight to Trauma 6. The moment Emma stepped inside, her breath caught. The Admiral lay still, too still. Doctors stood frozen. Nurses cried softly. The monitors showed a thin, irregular line. Emma ran to his bedside. "Move," she ordered, voice cracking. She grabbed his hand. "Admiral," she whispered, her tears finally breaking free. "You fought for me in Afghanistan. You held me while I bled. You carried me. You told me to live so you don't get to leave now. You hear me? Not now." His vitals flickered. Emma placed her palm on his chest, eyes squeezed shut. "Come back," she begged. "Come back, please." A long, suffocating silence filled the room. And then, a sound. Beep. Beep, beep. The line steadied. Emma collapsed forward, her forehead falling onto his shoulder as relief shook her entire body. The Admiral's eyelids fluttered open weakly. "Emma," he whispered, voice thin and broken. "You survived." "So did you," she whispered back. Agents flooded the room. The director stumbled in, pale. Nurses gasped. Doctors stepped back in awe. The lead agent approached Emma with a sealed envelope. "You ended a traitor's operation," he said softly, "and saved a national hero. Federal Command is giving you this." Emma opened the envelope. A letter of reinstated identity, a federal pardon, a Medal of Valor recommendation, and a certified transfer. $5 million. "For your survival," the agent said, "and for your silence until now." Emma stared at it, tears filling her eyes. She didn't care about the money. She cared that her squad wasn't forgotten, that their deaths meant something, that justice found the man who betrayed them. The Admiral squeezed her hand weakly. "You're still the best medic I ever had." Emma broke completely, burying her face into his shoulder as the entire room watched. She wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't forgotten. She wasn't a ghost. She was Emma Clark, the last SEAL medic, and she had finally come home. If this story moved you even a little, please subscribe. Your support is what keeps stories like this alive. And I'm begging you, don't leave without hitting that button.